Well, hey everyone, let's get started. My name is Kate Watts. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist with the Live Life Well Employee Wellbeing team here at Cone Health. Thanks for joining me for our virtual cooking class today. If you have questions, let me know in the chat or through the Q&A function. And if you're watching the recording of this, you can find the recipe down in the description box below. We always record our live virtual cooking classes and post them on the Live Life Well YouTube channel, which you can also find through our website. So this month's theme is farm to table recipes. And so we're going to be making a chicken and quinoa salad bowl with strawberries and pecans. We're getting to the end of our strawberry season. It ended a little early this year. So I'm also going to include some peaches because they are coming into season. And already my kitchen smells great because when you get those really fresh produce items from your farmer's market, everything just smells so good. And these are very ripe and ready to go. So can smell the peaches wafting up at me. So we're going to do that. Here's the ingredients we're going to be using. First thing we're going to do is actually toast some pecans. So I have some North Carolina pecans from my farmer's market. I live over in Burlington, North Carolina. And so we're going to go ahead and toast those up. I've got about a fourth a cup, which is what the recipe calls for, maybe like a third a cup. So I'm going to go ahead and just put those on a medium heat and let them toast just so I can start to smell the fragrance. And then I'll give them a little stir and then take them off the heat. So just to give them a little extra flavor by toasting them. Next, we're going to make the dressing. So our dressing is going to be balsamic vinegar, maple syrup, Dijon mustard, a clove of garlic grated, some salt and pepper, and some extra virgin olive oil. So it's a very simple dressing. So we'll throw that together. And then we're going to have romaine lettuce. And I've got some spinach and baby green leaf that I need to use up too. So I'm going to do a little bit of a combo there. I've got my 2 cups of cooked quinoa, which I purchased the tri-colored kind and just cooked it according to the bag instructions and then let it cool down and then cooled it in the fridge. But warm is fine too, just for a salad. I want it to be cold. And then 2 cups shredded or chopped cooked chicken. So I am going to be using some chicken that I already grilled last night. This chicken is from the Blues Farm in Gibsonville. So this is also a farm raised, cage-free kind of deal for the chickens. They have some really great animal products there in addition to their produce if you get a chance to check out the Blues Farm. And then I'm going to have strawberries, peaches, radishes, which are also in season right now. And I love a good radish on a salad. It just gives it that extra crunch. And then we're going to do some goat cheese and our toasted pecans. I'm also going to add some pepita seeds or pumpkin seeds to my salad as well. They go so well with the fruit and the goat cheese and the dressing. So that's what we're going to be making today. I am going to share in the chat, excuse me, the link to our Live Life Well employee page. Let me send that over. There we go. So you can find under our healthy eating information all the resources we have, including these classes and our in-person cooking classes. You can also find all the information we have on local farmers markets around each area where Cone Health services can be found. So Alamance County, Randolph County, Guilford County, and Reedsville, whatever that county is. So yeah, we've got information on different ways to find farmers market, different resources like through apps and websites and things where you can quickly find a farmers market near you. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna check these pecans, give them a little stir. Yeah, those are smelling so good. I'm just gonna allow those to continue to toast, and we're going to start with our dressing. So we're going to start with our garlic clove. So I'm going to use the side of my knife to smash the skin of the garlic open and peel that off. I have a pretty large garlic clove here because I do love the fresh garlic in this dressing. All right. So let me know as well if you have any favorite farmers markets that you like to visit in your area. Pop that in the chat. And again, if you're watching this online or watching the recording, I'll have that information linked in our description box with the recipe. And also, if you've registered for the class or you're here today, I'll be sending out this recording as well as information on our farmers market partners. All right, so it says to grate our garlic. So I'm just going to kind of trim off the tip and the kind of the base, the where it's kind of like a little bit of root looking. And then I'm going to use a microplane to just grate my garlic. And I think we'll just go ahead and do it straight into the container I'm going to be making our dressing in. Now, if you don't have a microplane, you can use any kind of grater, or you could just finely mince your garlic, or use like a garlic press to finely mince your garlic there as well. But I'm just going to grate carefully our garlic. And I'm usually all about convenience. And I always have my jarred minced garlic in my fridge on hand to quickly add in some fresh garlic. But in this case, for a fresh made dressing, I really like using the fresh garlic clove. All right, so once I start to get down to the end of that, most of it's on the back of my microplane here. So I'm just going to use my knife, see that, to put our garlic in the dressing container. And I smell those pecans, so I'm going to go take them off the heat. All that good garlic in there. Okay, so that's about a teaspoon of fresh grated garlic. So really, you're gonna enhance the flavor of the pecans by toasting them. You'll see there is a little bit of color to them, but not a big change. Some of them have gotten a little more toasted than others, but really just to get that flavor. So as soon as you smell them, you'll take them off the heat. There's a couple pieces that got a little too dark, but we can manage that. Okay, so let's add in the rest of the ingredients for our dressing, starting with our 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. So just a very basic oil and vinegar dressing here. And the addition of the Dijon mustard is going to add a little sweetness, but also acts as our emulsifier so that everything, once it's mixed together, is going to stay mixed together. So if you do decide to keep it in your fridge for 2 or 3 days, it's not going to separate on you. It's going to stay nice and together. So we're going to do a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. Also going to add a good dose of sweetness. And you could use honey instead. I did pick up some local honey at the the farmer's market while I was out shopping, which we enjoyed on our peaches yesterday as a snack. My kids love going to the farmer's market. And so we picked out the biggest jar of honey we could find. But I'm going to use maple syrup for this one like the recipe calls for. And now we're going to do our teaspoon of Dijon mustard as well. All right, we've already got our garlic in there. Now we're just going to add in our salt and pepper. And I'm not going to measure this. I'm just going to do a few fresh cracked rounds of our salt, which it calls for half a teaspoon, and our ground black pepper, which it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon. I really like black pepper. I'm going to do a little bit extra. And then we're going to slowly pour in our 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil while we whisk to get everything combined. Okay. Go ahead and whisk in that garlic and then we'll add in our third a cup of extra virgin olive oil. All right. And again, in an airtight container, this should last 3-4 days in your refrigerator. And really, to me, the key to a good homemade salad is a good salad dressing, right? So a fresh homemade salad dressing can make all the difference. Now I do have some favorite jarred varieties that y'all see me use in other classes, like the Brianna's poppy seed dressing I love, but this nice homemade vinaigrette really can't beat it. Okay. So that's done. I'm going to put the dressing to the side and we're going to assemble our salad. It's that easy. And with these like really hot days that we've been having, a nice, cold, crunchy, flavorful salad is just the thing for a nice filling lunch. It's going to be, it's nice and cold and light feeling, but it's going to keep us fueled and satisfied because we're using our quinoa as our whole grain base. And then we've got grilled chicken, so good amount of protein. We're adding more protein with the pecans and the pepita seeds. So we definitely aren't going to be hungry after this nice big entree salad. Okay, so I've got my go-to wooden salad bowl. We're going to start with our quinoa, and I'm going to do just a few spoonfuls. So you can play with the ratio here as much as you want as far as quinoa to greens. If you want more of a rice bowl kind of feel with the quinoa as the base, or if you want more of a salad feel with the greens. So I'm going to put a good healthy portion of quinoa as my base. Okay. And then I'm going to get our greens. So as I mentioned, I've got a few baby crisp green leaf and spinach that I want to use up. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to my bowl. And then I've got some fresh green leaf that I just picked up this morning that we're going to add to fill up the rest of my bowl. Okay. Okay. So let's get some of our fresh washed green leaf. I'm just going to take off a few leaves here. Probably be good. And if you're in the process of making a salad, it's always a great idea to prep a few more for the rest of your week. And y'all know I love a good mason jar salad. And really you can do it in any kind of container, but the only thing you really need to keep separate in this case would be probably the cheese. Everything else you could go ahead and put into your container, and the fruit as well. Keeping the fruit to the side to add when you're ready to eat. Dressing you can add when you're ready to eat, or if you're doing it in the mason jar, you put the salad dressing first so that everything else stays kind of fresh and crisp. I'm just going to do a rough chop on my greens. But those pre-made salads will last in your fridge for a good 3 or 4 days as well, depending on how fresh all of your produce is. And I find that I'm so much more likely to have a salad for lunch if I've already done a lot of this prep work. So even just washing and cutting up all your ingredients and having those ready to grab and toss in a bowl, even a prep method like that can be a really good strategy to get in a lot more of these seasonal fruits and veggies. Okay, so I've got the rest of my greens. I mean, this is going to be a big salad. All right, so what I want to do is just toss that a little bit. I want some of my quinoa on top of my greens as well. Okay, so I'm just going to use another sprinkle of that. Okay. All right, so I've gone heavy on the leaning towards the salad with my base, but you do whatever you feel, okay? All right, so now we're going to top with everything else. So I need to cut our peaches and our strawberries and our radishes, and then we'll get our chicken cut up. All right, so I've already washed my peaches. I'm going to cut just around the pit like so, and then kind of around the pits on one side. And then you can leave the skin on or off, totally your preference. I personally love the skin, and I wash these babies really good so I could eat the skin. And that's going to be where a lot of the fiber and nutrition is anyway. So I'm just going to slice these up. And I think actually I'm gonna dice these. I think that'll work well on my salad. Okay. And then on this side, I'm just gonna chop around the pit. Peaches are some of my favorite fruits, and really strawberry being my absolute favorite. So this is a dream salad for me right here. Okay, I think one peach is gonna do it. So I've got a whole peach on there. Now we're gonna add in our strawberries. So I've washed these as well. I'm just gonna cut off the tops, and then I think I'll slice these. Yeah. No boring salads around here. This one is gonna be bursting with flavor today. Okay, got my strawberries on. So let's do our radishes. So I'm just gonna trim off the top and the bottom. Love the color that these add to a salad too, and it goes so well with chicken. I don't know what it is. Like a lot of times if I'm feeling really lazy for the week and I want to have like a bowl like this as my go-to lunches, I'll just grab a rotisserie chicken, and something about a little bit of radish with rotisserie chicken on a salad is so good. I'm going to thinly slice those as best I can. These radishes always make me think of my grandma too. She always loved to have radishes on her salad. It's just like just always reminds me of her. She always loved having that little extra pop of crunch and red. Okay, so that looks good. I might do one more. I might do one more. Okay. Now you could obviously use up whatever you have on hand to throw into this recipe. You know, if you want to use some sliced almonds instead of the pecans, any other fruits, if you had maybe some blackberries or some blueberries would go great in this salad as well. So let's cut up our grilled chicken now. Get that in here. I'm going to have mine cold. You can certainly heat up your chicken as well, or if you have just prepared it for this recipe and it's still warm, still works great for a quinoa bowl or a salad bowl. Now, y'all, this is one of the simplest recipes I've done on here, I feel like. I mean, I always say the recipes that we do together are simple, but I feel like this one really is. Uh, as far as ease or cooking skill level, this is like beginner, right? So this is one that you could teach your teenagers to make, or have your family get involved. And it's also really great for family dinner because you can have all the ingredients laid out just like I do here, but already prepped, washed, and cut, and then allow people to go down the line and make their own bowl. So if they want more grains versus more greens, if there's a certain veggie that one of your kids doesn't like, they don't have to put it on there, and everybody can make their own bowl just to their liking. So that's always a good family-friendly option too. All right, I've convinced Jamie to try radishes. Yay! I mean, they're really not much to them, not much flavor. It's really just so pretty and crunchy, right? Okay, so I've got my good portion of chicken on there, and I've got enough left for another salad too. So Might be prepping me a salad at the end of this. Okay. Let's see. Let's add on our pecans. Okay. Nice toasty pecans. And then our pepita seeds or pumpkin seeds. And if you haven't tried pepitas, I'm going to encourage you very heavily to give these a try too. They are so good. They're like I would say most similar to sunflower seeds, but the flavor is much milder. Um, and they are so good on stir fries, salads, even sprinkled on top of soup. Like if you make a butternut squash soup or something like that in the fall, just this little bit of crunch on top. They are very nutritious, very good for you as well. These I got in Walmart. I've also seen them at Aldi. So you can find them most supermarkets and grocery stores. Okay, now my absolute favorite part, the goat cheese. And if you're not big on goat cheese, you could do a feta cheese or crumble some mozzarella cheese or omit it altogether. But these softer cheeses are a little bit better in terms of heart health, like saturated fat content. But I just find that like cheese just takes a salad to a whole nother level. So I absolutely love some goat cheese. All right, voila. That is a huge monster salad, y'all. I am very excited for this. Okay, let's get our dressing on, making sure I got all my ingredients. Yep. Let's get our dressing and give it a try. Just clear this out of the way. Right. So I'll give our dressing a stir. And this recipe is from the Eating Well website. One of my favorites. Oh, yum. That looks so good. And I've got enough dressing for my other second salad that I'll be able to put together for tomorrow. Yeah. So let me know if there's anything else you would add to this salad or anything you would change. I'm going to try to get a little bit of that quinoa, a little bit of that fruit, definitely one of those radishes, and a nice big piece of chicken. Let's see here. Oh, yum. Okay, y'all. About to get, didn't cut my lettuce down very much. Okay. Hmm. 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 Oops. That salad dressing is so good. Just a simple vinaigrette. Um, but with the fresh strawberries, the peaches, the seeds, the toasted pecans, y'all, it's so good. Yeah. So I have done some of the salad jar, mason jar prep on here before. So check out our YouTube channel. Look at some of the past recipes we've done. I've definitely prepped in a mason jar before, but basically, when you've got leftover ingredients already prepped up, you would just start by taking your dressing and pouring it in the bottom of your jar. And that's really the perfect amount. You want just enough to kind of cover the bottom of that jar. That's more than enough. And then you would start by layering the more hearty vegetable toppings first. So I would probably do my radishes, then my strawberries and peaches. You could do the quinoa in here as well. And actually, I would probably do that first because it can soak up a lot of that good flavor from the dressing. So I'm going to put in quinoa, and then I would do radishes, my fruits, then your greens, and you can stuff a lot of greens into a mason jar, let me tell you. And then on the top is where you would put your seeds and your cheese after the lettuce, okay? So, if you're doing other vegetables, your really hearty vegetables like carrots and broccoli, that can go closer to the dressing. And then something like grape tomatoes, chickpeas, those can go next. And then your greens. So, yeah, you just layer it that way. And then you can store it in the fridge. And when you're ready to eat, you just dump it into the bowl and you're ready to go. So, all right. Well, I hope y'all try this one out. And I hope to see you in our next one. I'll be sending out a link for the recording as well as the information on our farmers market partners. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.